Hello, welcome to the Griffon Show. Great to have you with us as we rock and roll on the road again in beautiful Alexandria, Louisiana. Our good friends at Similar Broadcasting, KSYL 970 AM, and very grateful to be making another year with those folks, I promise you. But we're here at Hickson Autoplex, HicksonHasIt.com, HicksonHasIt.com. Of course, three great locations, and I will tell you the locations in Leesville, of course, right here in Alexandria, Louisiana, and beautiful Monroe, where I was originally living for many, many years, 35 years to be exact, as we made our southern trip to live in the Lafayette area. Now we actually love it. It's been a blessing, and we've got a lot to be thankful for. So anyway, last trip this year with Dallas. We'll be back again, of course, starting next month. But anyway, I don't know if we'll see Dallas today, to be honest with you. I don't know if he's going to even make it by. And there comes Jack with my. No, it's not the drink. I'm thankful for the drink. It's these Louisiana Tech colors. And by the way, I'm watching Tech on Friday. Just to let you guys know this, Jack, I'm going to be watching Tech on Friday. Billy Rickman. Do you remember Billy Rickman played wide receiver at Louisiana Tech. He played in the NFL for 6 years. Billy does the ESPN on our sister station. In Lafayette. And he's had me on his program many times to talk sports. And I love doing that. It's a lot of fun to me. But Billy accused me of never bringing him in. So I saw him the other day. I said, all right, here's your big chance, Louisiana Tech. And I think he said he was off Friday, so he's supposed to come in tomorrow. And I hope he'll come in for a few minutes to talk about Louisiana Tech's football bowl game. So you guys ought to not get mad at me anymore. You can't answer unless you put a headset on. Anyway, a lot to cover today, folks. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program, it's your opportunity to be a voice. Obama and them firing his top scientists to advance the climate change on man-made global warming, and the reason he's doing it, you got to bring that in. The reason he's doing that is they were not advancing the lie, and they need the lie to continue, and so he fires the guy and retaliated against the scientists because the scientists don't want to get on board with this man-made global warming lie. And if you notice, he just took over from sea to shining sea, and what I mean by that is no oil rigs, we're not drilling. All the stuff he's doing is going to be overturned in about, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it is? About 4 weeks. It's going to be overturned. So he could do, and he's going to do a lot more. He's letting thugs and prisoners out and everything else to go. And by the way, they aren't all thugs and prisoners. Some of them probably legitimately to be let out. So you can have a lot of that going on too, but now all of them done that. All the presidents have done that. So, anyway, we got that going on. The tax increases and the joke, Lanny Keller wrote an article out of Advocate, which is an outright joke. These guys at Advocate are worse than the press was for Hillary Clinton, trying to protect Bell Edwards. And they say things that aren't true. And being a nice guy, I'm going to point them out to you. Anyway, Jack, but first of all, thanks for the drink, Jack.
You're welcome, sir.
I mean, I don't have anything against, it's no sense me being upset that it's Tech colors.
It's okay. Yeah. Hey, Moon, the other day on the air, I talked to you, and I told the audience that Cornelius was your bodyguard.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at him right here.
He is my bodyguard.
He's right there.
He's also my caterer. He's serving food over here we brought from the Best Stop. There's an opportunity for people to eat the Best Stop. We've had boudin. We've had boudin balls with pepper jack cheese. We had this boudin pepper jack wrap that we brought. We brought hall crackers. There's a little boudin left, and that's it. Everybody else then wiped everything out. So they think Cornelius is caterer. So they're thinking Cornelius left and right.
Or you got pictures of him, like you said? I'd like the pictures of Cornelius.
No, I don't have any pictures of Cornelius, but Brandon would probably take some if you had some. Anyway, how you been doing, sir?
I'm good.
Well, you're glad another political season. We've had 3 quick years of politics. We had Mary Landrieu getting beat. Then we had the governor's race, which they really piled on bitter. And then this year, the presidential race and the Kennedy race, and, of course, Clay Higgins just smashed Angel to no end, right, with no budget. Right. And so the people have spoken. Now we got to see what we've voted for. And we already see what we voted for as governor as they try to raise all these taxes. You guys are going to have to get with these Republican reps and senators and really get on their fannies, because these Republicans, and they all seem weak. We're going to have enough voting records. We already do. Voting records on some of these representatives that if people will run against them and use their voting record, they can't run. They can't run and hide. They got Republicans getting ready to raise the heck out of taxes like you haven't seen. Not only the road tax, all the taxes, income taxes, business taxes, because you got people in the press still shoving this down our throats.
Moon, how can we lose jobs here like we're doing? And you further tax us?
You're taxing the people who actually have a job. Think about it. And there's not a lot of us left. It makes no sense. But you notice, Jack, nothing about spending. Nothing. Task force, no, they don't talk about spending. The press doesn't talk about spending. The legislature doesn't talk about spending. Nobody talks about the overspending and abundant spending in the state of Louisiana.
Well, is Reiser going to run for treasurer?
Talked to Neil the other day. Neil said he's definitely going to run. You're going to have the problem with all of them right now is everybody that's claiming they're going to run are really local candidates, which means they have no big base outside of their little district. And it's going to take a lot of money to run for the state treasurer's job. Somebody's going to want that job. I still think you're going to see some top-tier candidates. When I say top-tier, not a cut-off deal to anybody else. And what I mean by top-tier is that they're going to be names with a lot of money that are hard to beat because they come in with name recognition. There's a few out there looking at it, I'm sure. I don't have any big names for you right now.
Well, I bet CB's looking at us right now. Listen to this. I'd love to hear what his response about that.
I miss him, man. He's been gone almost a year. You know, I told the audience the other day, January 3rd is going to be significant for me too, because we lost CB January 3rd of last year. John Kennedy gets sworn in January 3rd. That's right. He will no longer be. Now, I think John's still going to be a watchdog for the state. I do. And there are other people already stepped up that I've been knowing for years. People don't even understand some of the people I talk to behind the scenes. But inside some of these administrations, they don't even see it coming. But the point being is, that's a lot of institutional knowledge for me that's not there anymore. You know, we never get CB back. John will be somebody you still can talk to, but we never get CB back. And CB, I never forget last election. And one of the things he did get upset about before what happened to him happened was the number of elected officials that voted for all those taxes, especially Republicans, who walked in with nobody opposing them.
Oh, I know he got upset about that.
Beat lesser candidates that didn't have money to compete. And we're going to do a better job in the next 3 years, Lord willing, I'm still around, of pointing out these people because they need to be pointed out. You know, I saw Scott Angel get ripped. I saw Bananas Foster get ripped. I saw some people finally lose because of their voting record. And the voting record of these Republicans, if they support John Bell Edwards' massive tax increases, are going to be horrendous. And we got to point this out because you got these chamber types that get behind these candidates that benefit from high taxes on you and me. That's the fact. So they're going to continue to support these candidates. And I can name them now. I really can name them now. I'm not. I'm going to let them go and vote for some more taxes. I need some more tax votes. And I think this next year or two, we're going to see a massive tax increase. John Bell Edwards is a one-term governor. But I'm going to tell you one of his defenses, well, we got this passed with the help of Republicans. So y'all going, you know, Republicans, they can't get all these taxes passed. The problem is you got Republicans not willing to do the hard work. They hadn't been able to do it in Congress, and they've not done it in Baton Rouge. So, and let me tell you something, to continue to blame Jindal, Jindal's not there anymore.
No.
Jindal's been gone a year.
No.
So what are you going to do, keep blaming Bobby Jindal? You got Jay Darden, I told y'all how liberal he was. And these are the type of Republicans we have scattered in the House and Senate. And, you know, one of the other things, Jack, they can't fix nothing. They always tell us John Hilario's the adult in the room. John Hilario. Well, when he's finished, it's going to be 48 years of fixing nothing. Yep. Tax and spend liberal, fixing nothing. Yet they keep telling us that they're blaming Jindal and the Republicans when Hilario's been right there the whole time.
Well, I listened to your interview with Elliot Stonecipher Monday, which I thought was very, very good. And I heard him talk about that situation over there.
No, the Cattle Commission, it is so wrong what they're doing. They're digging in. They're so wrong what they're doing to the taxpayer. But these people are digging in instead of apologizing and giving the money back.
Well, when it goes to the Court of Appeals, I'll really be interested to see how that turns out.
Well, you know, I'm not saying I don't trust the courts, but I'm just saying courts rule in funny ways. If you read the law, if you read the charter, they can't do what they're doing. And Elliot was right because he worked with CB for a while.
Oh, yeah.
You don't mess with CB when it comes to the law and what was right because he helped write the Constitution. He knows they're wrong. And I appreciate people like Elliott and whoever else is the lawyer he mentioned. I forgot the guy's name. Those are the type people you got to have in communities that stand up against just an onslaught on the taxpayer.
Oh, his name was it William Pesnell?
Pesnell
was his last name.
I don't remember.
Yep.
I don't remember. But those are the type people we need all over the state stopping some of this crazy. I just read today Lafayette's getting ready to come back with a fall sale, some kind of fall tax on us again because they can't balance the budget. Well, we've had some problems with oil and gas. Everybody knows that. But you can't keep coming back on the people. We were flooded. A lot of people flooded. A lot of people lost their jobs. We're going to raise more taxes on them, too. You see the ignorance? I mean, that's Joe Robideau, who came from the legislature, the tax man, comes back, wins the job. He wants to tax the prosperity down there, too.
That's right.
And it's just not going to happen.
When they do irresponsible spending, it really puts it on the people paying the taxes in the state of Louisiana. It hurts.
Joey Durrell, when he left, didn't sign off to the budget because the council voted to add 1 point something million. I don't know if it was $1 million, 1.7 million, and that's the budget problems they have. And he said, you're not going to have that money come in. Oil and gas industry's down. And to Joey's credit, he didn't sign the budget into law. It became a law. I mean, his budget, it passed. But he didn't sign it. He didn't want his name on it. And I don't blame him. All right, we got to take a break. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. We just crank it up. Your opportunity to be a voice is right now. Yeah. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show dedicated to Joe Robideau as they try to raise some more taxes. Wow. Unbelievable. All right. We had Hickson Autoplex. Of course, Hickson has it hotline. It's 844-766-6607. And don't forget, HicksonHasIt.com, HIXSON. 3 great locations. Abbeville, Leesville. I'm going to Abbeville. I go to Shucks a lot. And I do. And, of course, Monroe, where I was living for many, many years, and here, beautiful Alexandria, Louisiana. And, by the way, Melissa Bourgeois joins me, and because I went and grab her. How you doing?
Hey, I'm great. How are you?
Doing just great. I went get out the office, and I said, look, Dallas is not here. Can you come talk to me a little bit? She says, I don't want to talk to you, but I'll do it anyway.
Yeah,
good to see you.
I'll do one for the team.
All right, no doubt about it. Let me do this. Come here. Now talk.
Oh, is that better?
Oh, that's
okay.
100% better. Anyway, good to see you. You know, and I'm just kind of curious, and I did it only one time, bought a car for Christmas. Mm-hmm. That's a big deal with a lot of people.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, so it's a special time for them. I mean, people buy vehicles at Christmas. It's a heck of a gift.
You know what's even better is when your spouse, preferably your husband, wraps in a big red bow and surprises you with it, like my husband did for me about 3 years ago.
They put the bow, you know,
yeah,
you see that.
Some points.
I see that on the commercial sometime, and I go, do people really put a bow?
It really did.
I bought one, and I didn't do the bow. I bought one time for Valentine's Day for my wife, and I thought, you know, that's pretty good stuff.
Anniversary, birthdays, hey.
Well, it's Christmas time. I mean, it's a good deal, and I know y'all got a lot of good deals.
We do.
I tell people go to a website, especially if they can't get to a dealership. Y'all website's really good.
It is.
People can find out everything they need to find out, and if they need to talk to somebody, they can call as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they can. And also, I mean, there's salesmen here ready and available, just waiting to take care of the customers. And they're really big on customer service.
You handle the financial side?
I do.
Oh, what happened? You can't hear me? Uh-oh. Okay, is that better?
I don't know, can you hear me?
Can you hear me a little better? I don't know what
you're not coming through my speaker, but I can hear you right in front of me.
I have no idea. Brandon, you still got me?
That's better.
Okay. I want to make sure Brandon still has me. No, you do the financing.
Yes.
You do the tough part. Because people try to come in here, and they got to make the deals, and they got to make sure the credit's good, and they got to check this and check that. Am I correct?
You're correct.
So how hard is that? I mean, things change all the time in the business. So how hard is that dealing with folks, and if they got – I'm showing their credits at different scores and things of that nature. How hard is that?
It's not difficult because we have so many good lenders to go through, and they work with the customer. And like I said, we're all about customer service and trying to get that person in the car. So we're going to find a lender to, help finance that person.
Well, no, I just kind of asked that question because, I mean, some people get nervous about that, and it's better if their credit's not great. I know people can still buy cars even if their credit is not just superb.
Right. Yes, they can. And they shouldn't be nervous. That's what we do. They just need to have faith, come in here and let them know that we're going to take care of them.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, I want people to know that because There are people that had bad credit. They're working on their credit. The credit's gotten better. They don't think it may be good enough. But I know there's a lot of times, and car dealerships do this sometimes. Come on in and let us see what we can do for
Exactly.
you. So don't be scared. Come in because you're the person they're going to see. By the way, she's very pleasant to look at, so it's real easy for you to talk to her.
Well, thanks, man.
All right, Melissa. Listen, HicksonHazard.com.
Yes.
Do they talk to y'all on the financial stuff on the phone as well, or is that mostly in person?
No, in person. We like to do that in person.
Everything you're going to do off their internet and the site and all that stuff is going to probably be dealing with buying the car.
Right, because you really need to know what they're looking at sales price-wise to know what kind of financing we need to do.
Okay, so that kind of makes it simple. So somebody wants to know about financing. Is there anybody that comes in and want to know about financing before they go to looking at a car? In other words, do they come in and say, I don't know where I'm at financing. I don't know where I can buy, fill out a credit app, do the things. Can you do that first?
They can, yes.
Pre-approve, kind of what they can look for.
They can, yes, sir.
That kind of makes it neat. Mm-hmm. So they can come see you first.
They can, yeah. And then I'll set them up with a good salesman.
All right, I figured you would do that. Y'all been taught well. All right, Melissa Bourgeois, thank you very much. God bless. I do appreciate you spending a few minutes with us.
Anytime,
All right,
thanks.
Thank you. All right, folks, that is Miss Melissa, of course. She handles a lot of financing here at Hickson Autoplex in Alexandria, Louisiana. All right, quick break. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. More to come right after this. Oh, welcome back, Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Excuse me, Hickson has it. Hickson has it hotline, of course. You can be part of the program. We're at Hickson Autoplex in Alexandria, Louisiana, conjunction with KSYL, 970 AM. And they sent me over to Center Broadcasting a nice Tony Sassuare's collection, and I am grateful and thankful to my friends at Center Broadcasting. I really am. All righty. Of course, don't forget Hickson, Leesville, Monroe, and Alexandria, 3 great locations at HicksonHazard.com. Check out and see if you can make the best deal for yourself. You'll be serviced very friendly by my good friends at Hickson. They do such a wonderful job, and trust me, from a guy that buys vehicles from here, that you're going to be glad what you did. By the way, man-made global warming looks cold on it. I love the breaking headlines. Congress, Obama administration fired top scientists to advance climate change plans. The new congressional investigation has determined that Obama administration fired top scientists and intimidated staff at the Department of Energy in order to further its climate change agenda. So there's an agenda. What I want to know about it is what's the truth. And so if they got an agenda, the agenda is to prove to us that there's such thing as man-made global warming. And so it's an agenda. It's not the facts. It's what's going on. So what they had to do was they fired a top scientist and intimidated the staff at the Department of Energy to further their agenda, which is a leftist, socialist, Marxist agenda. According to a new report that alleges the administration ordered top officials to obstruct Congress in order to forward their agenda. See, all presidents, Republican, Democrat, Obama, Trump, whoever, the agenda needs to be the American people. That needs to be our agenda, not global warming or climate change. That's political agendas. What about the agenda for the American people? And the fact is, this is silly and crazy to think that we're doing something to the planet when we're not. But if you keep putting leftists in charge, this is what's going to happen. You know? And everybody says, every now and then I get an email from an idiot thinking and trying to prove that man-made global warming is real. And it's an idiot. But they try to send it to me with all these facts. All the 97% of the scientists say. That's all a bunch of bunk. You know what? Sometimes 3% of the scientists is all it takes to be right. Sometimes one scientist telling the truth and proving it is all it takes. So you can have all this consensus. That means, well, yeah, we need to do this. This is the way we make money. We get money from the United States of America to stay in business. This is such a joke. But every time something comes up with the, quote, global warming, climate change people, it's always a fraud. You know, Obama has thrown a fraud about everything he's done. It was a fraud. Obamacare was a fraud. Climate change is proven to be a fraud. Opening our borders, I don't know if y'all are reading the headline, the borders are wide open. They're trying to get as many people in here as they possibly can till this cat's gone. That's a fraud to think. Look what happened in Germany. Look what's happened with Merkel, blood all over her hands. Why? We're going to open up all these refugees. We're going to open it up for people to come work. And you see, part of the people coming across the border here is to work. Part of it is these rich, fat cat business people want cheap labor. Okay, why do you think America took slaves in? They wanted cheap labor. You know, it's happening today too. It's not slavery and going get people and bringing them or paying for them, but it's a form that you send. Open the borders, let these people come work for cheap labor. And so the fight we had back in the 1700s is happening again now. It's just been fast forward. It's a little different twist because, quote, nobody's in slavery. But the fact is, it's dealing with cheap labor. Go read your history books. I'm telling you, I'm right about this. And so, but there's a double twist for the left. Not only do they want the cheap labor, they want the votes. You know, and that's why you're giving out this, giving out that, you know, and so it's kind of ridiculous, but the whole Obama agenda has been a lie, and his people don't see that. Obamacare was a lie. The border is a lie. Climate change is a lie. The unemployment rate is a lie. The jobs they've created is a lie. A $15 minimum wage is another lie. You're still making minimum wage. Everything goes up, your minimum wage doesn't buy anymore. Another lie. So when you look at it, his whole agenda is a lie. And his climate change is what proves it to be the biggest lie of all. You know, why do they have to stop scientists that really want to show us the truth? But they do it on a consistent basis, and it's a shame. What was the article that I had? I wish I could find it real quick. There was an article on several articles on people coming across the border and how they're picking up the pace to come across the border. They're allowing more and more and more and more people to come across the border. So, and by the way, do you know what else he's done? He's seized the oceans. He's used the executive authority for permanent bans of offshore drilling. Permanent ban. That means we can't change it. Boom, when Trump gets in, he can open it right back up. It ain't a big deal. But that's what he's doing. He's using executive order now to seize the oceans, which is, you know, part our water, part somebody else's. But he's imposing new permanent bans on offshore drilling. That's getting ready to change, folks. Invoking a rarely used provision in federal law, the Obama administration on Tuesday announced a permanent ban on offshore drilling in broad parts of the Arctic and things of that nature. And by the way, that's not going to stand, folks. Some of these executive orders are just flat out not going to stand. But he didn't use the most executive orders anyway. I think Bush and Reagan, some of these other guys used more than he did. It's not how many you used. It's what you use them for. It's what laws they mess with. But Arctic, Atlantic coast, sweeping and controversial move that will help secure the president's environmental legacy, even as critics vowed to reverse it. His legacy, his environmental legacy is to stifle business. His environmental legacy is to stifle you and me. If you notice the left, it's all about what you can't do. I told you, they don't mind you smoking dope. They don't mind you getting drunk. And if you get pregnant, you can get an abortion. That's what they're for. Everything else they want to control. The food you eat, they want everybody to be a vegetarian. Okay? They don't want you to drive a gas-guzzling car. They want you to drive one of these cars that's not even been built yet, one of these ones on windmills that blow all over the place. They want to control everything in your life, how much money you make, what you can build, how big of a place you can build. Everything's controlled with them. And a lot of their voters, they already control. So everything is to control your life in every facet and form, and that's what the left's done to people. And if you don't believe me, go to Venezuela. Go to Cuba. Go to Russia. Go to Iran, Iraq. It's all about controlling the masses. It's not about people getting out and being the best they can be. That's why they don't like Trump. And we got to wait and see what happens. But if Trump gets out there and does his job, it's to open up everything so you and me can go be the best we can be. It's not about the government controlling you. It's about you going out and being the best you can be. You see, they like people listening to this program that go out and work every day. Okay? This is the type of people that Trump's going to like because we are the workers. We pull everything. We do everything. I don't need the government to do my health care. I don't need the government. I need the government to build roads and protect my border. Okay? Education is something that I'll agree with, done more at the state and local level. And the roads, we ought to pay taxes for that. Not more taxes, but taxes for them. And I'd say taxes because they want to do that anyway. But they got to love people like you and me, folks, because we're out there doing everything. We don't need their help. I don't need the help for health care. I don't need no help to buy my own food. I don't need help to feed my children. Okay? I don't need any help for that. I'm going to go do it myself. But what you can't do is stifle me. And what they do with their voters, they stifle them. They keep them down. And all I got to do is go to the inner cities. Let's go to any big inner city in this country. And you tell me what government's doing to those folks. They stifling them. They keeping people down. That's they just trying to make a bigger version of that where everybody's like that. I'm telling you, Venezuela and Cuba, President Barack Obama was perfect president for those countries because that's what they do. They stifle everybody. But when you start stifling everybody here, you just sort of revolt. And people don't want to be stifled. I want to be the best I can be. And people listening to this program, most of them want to be the best they can be. So what I need is for them to get out the way and quit taking my money through taxes, quit taking my money through regulations, and quit taking our money, which is going to stifle us eventually. Well, we can't do anything. And that's what's taking place on a daily basis. They're running up debt, which stifles my money, my opportunities to grow as well. So everything they're doing from the left is to keep people hemmed up where they really can't do a whole lot. You know, one day if we keep going in that direction, you're going to get up and go to work and go home, and that's all you're going to have. It's not going to be a restaurant to go to. You're not going to have any money. It's not going to be a vacation. It's not going to be retirement. You're just going to get up and go work like a peasants that they have in Cuba and Venezuela. There was another article today in Venezuela. I saw one where people are selling their kids now just so they can have money to live, so they're selling them to people. Selling kids. That ain't happening. Yes, that's what is happening. They can't survive. They got the feeling the people that are buying their kids can actually take care of them and have a chance. I don't want to get to that one day. This environmental stuff, this is what it will cause eventually. Because if you look at the environmental whacked out, nutted up, crazy movement, it has nothing to do with your freedom and your peace to be the best you can be. But this is what that president keeps pushing. All right, we got to take a break. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline if you'd like to be part of the program. We're on the road again. I don't think we're going to see Dallas today. As I said earlier, I didn't know if he was going to come by. Miss Tanya had told me they didn't think he would be by today. I don't know if he's in town or not. But we did have Melissa Bourgeois, and I appreciate her coming and spending a few minutes with us. Don't forget HicksonHasIt.com, HicksonHasIt.com for all your vehicle needs. I guarantee you they'll get you turned around in the right direction. Libby Hill, Los Angeles Times. Now, this is in the Advocate. Today's Advocate. And they put this in. Tom Arnold, he was the nutted up actor, was the nutted up Roseanne. That was Roseanne's former husband. Is making waves with recent claims he has outtakes from The Apprentice that featured Donald Trump using inflammatory language. They're never going to stop on this man. Arnold, who was married to Roseanne Barr, so he got a lot of class, don't he? You know, she's the only one I ever seen do the national anthem and then spit on the ground when it was done. Now says that they have him using the N-word. I'm guilty. I've used it myself. I've always said that. I don't know if anybody's that hadn't used it, black or white. And he's now saying that he was going to. When the people sent it to me, it was funny. Now, I want you to think about this. Arnold says when the people sent it to me, it was funny. So they laughed at it. So Arnold laughed at somebody using the N-word, but now they're gonna say Trump used it, but Arnold said we laughed. Well, who was there? How many of those people should be fired? They laughing at Trump using the N-word? You know, I also heard during the election that they had Hillary using the N-word. Now, I'm telling you, I heard that from a lot of people, so I kept saying, well, let's see what happens. But that never came up either. So now Trump's the president-elect. By the way, I don't think he has to go through any more process. You just got to be sworn in. So if the president of the United States doesn't pull a slick one, he'll be sworn in on January 20th. He says we're going to be they laughed, they said, because they said the footage said he wasn't going to be president of the United States. It was him sitting in the chair using the N-word, using the C-word, calling his son intellectually disabled. This is what Arnold says. He then went on to recount the Sunday before the election, allegedly being called by a good friend, Arnold Schwarzenegger, CAA agent, and Hillary Clinton asking for him to release the tapes. But at this point, Arnold asserted that the people originally responsible for the distribution of the footage, 2 editors and the associate producer, were scared to death. They were scared of his people. They're scared they'd never work again. There's a $5 million confidential agreement. If they had gotten released, it absolutely would have finished him. You know, I've heard that about everything. They were finishing him. Every week they were going to finish Trump. I think the people that, like him, saw him saying the N-word, matter-of-factly, saying this stuff, I think they would have liked him more for being politically incorrect. That's Tom Arnold. So now we got another tape. Now we got something else going to bring. This is not going to stop, folks. This is never going to stop. Everything Donald Trump's done, they've already put it out there. So now they're looking for new stuff that he's done. And it's amazing how this never, ever, ever stops. And I don't, when is it going to stop? It's not. It's not going to stop till Trump's not the president anymore. It's just never going to stop. They're looking for stuff as we speak. That's what the left does. Kill, steal, and destroy. Somebody else does that too. It's called Satan. But they're not going to stop. We've got to understand this. And so they're going to keep calling you names. They're going to keep calling me names. Okay? And it is the way it is. And we're going to have to understand that this is going to be like this for the next 4 years. Any mistakes, anything they can pounce on, anything that can drive numbers down, all Trump has to do is deliver on the things he ran on and don't worry about that kind of mess. And I don't think he is. This looks like a guy that really doesn't care what they think. He doesn't care what I think either, probably. But he did care what the American people thought, and I think he's trying to accomplish some of the stuff from the worst no-hope 8 years that we had. I know people that voted for Trump, they felt like they had no hope. They had no hope under President Obama. They had no leadership. I've talked to I've never seen people so scared as being under the Obama regime. Never in my life. Not his people. Not the people that supported him, because a lot of those people just didn't have a clue what they were voting for. But I got a little hope again. I got to tell you, when Trump won, I got a little hope again. I got some hope that, hey, you know what, maybe we're going to be here a little bit longer. Because, running up the debt we're running up, trying to push man-made global warming down our throat, opening our borders. Look what's happening in Germany, in Europe, and the culture's being decimated by the Muslim country people that are coming in. Decimated. And like I said, that it ought to be a situation where if somebody believes in Sharia law, they really, really, really ought to get the heck out of this country if they believe in Sharia law. If they say, well, no, I don't believe in that, then that's fine. But if they say they believe in Sharia law, they really ought to go, because that's not who we are. That's not who we ever need to be. I mean, the way they treat women and kids and treat them like a bunch of dogs, that's a fact. Go read that stuff. You talk about get scared. But see, Europe and Germany and all those places, they said, welcome in. It's going to be great for us, multiculturalism. And they destroyed their culture. They tell me, I ain't been over there. They tell me the churches, the Christian churches, a lot of them are museums now. Okay, and they're changing everything to fit the culture of the new immigrants or illegals that are coming in, which are mostly Muslims. There was an article today in the paper saying that of the number of people that are coming into the United States of America, Syrian refugees and things of that nature, the numbers really astounding how many people they're letting come across the border. So Obama's trying to do to us what has already been done in these other countries. My question to y'all, why would you ever want to be like one of these other countries? I mean, they have been total failures. And yet, what happens? We're trying to be like that. The Berlin manhunt as killer escapes. Europe on Christmas alert. Refugees resettlement accelerates in Obama's final months. Emissions of Syrians, Somalians ahead of last year's pace. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say all these people are bad people. It don't take many. If you let 100,000 in and you got 1%, 10% is 1,000. 10% of 100,000 is 10,000. Okay, 10% is 10,000. That means 1% is 1,000. So if we got 1,000 bad ones, we're in trouble. They're not being vetted. They're running across the borders. They're allowing them. You mean to tell me this president's doing this to us? Absolutely, he's doing it to us. The resettlement is accelerating. Admissions of Syrians and Somalia. They don't no more care about the Constitution of this country than flying to the moon. They don't care about any of that. That's not their goal. And it's not the president's goal. They're going to come here and assimilate unless he wants them to assimilate and vote for Democrats. So what are these people coming here to do? You know, in America, Sharia law ought to not be tolerated. Why should Sharia law be tolerated in this country? Why do we want to destroy our culture and destroy who we are? You know, Sharia law goes totally against God, totally against the Constitution. People may not like me to tell the truth, but that's the truth. That it does not belong in the United States of America. So, by the way, if they're such loving people, why don't they go to one of these other countries that's so loving with all the Muslims? Why, they're really loving countries. No, they're running from them. They're tired of getting blown up. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. 844-766-6607. Hickson has that hotline if you'd like to be part of the program. All right. Got on this yesterday until I read another piece from Lanny Keller, who's in The Advocate. The Advocate loves John Bel Edwards. Loves him. It's kind of like the press with Hillary. You know, they are in Obama. They just never going to say nothing bad about him. And so I'm just asking you folks, have your Christmas, enjoy it. But when we come back and we get a few months into it and we start toward this legislative session, it's game time. It's time to wake back up come February and March. Because I'm telling y'all, what they're going to write about this tax increases and tax reform is almost ridiculous. From Jim Beam's horrible leftist articles in Lake Charles to Lanny Keller in The Advocate in the Gannett newspapers and all these people that are jumping on the one-term governor, Bel Edwards. He's a one-term governor, mark my word. So now they're going to talk about the taxes and the game plan. Let me start with this before I get to this article because I think this is great. This is going to explain everything that I've been trying to explain to people. I'm not worried about Bel Edwards and the Democrats. I'm not. I'm talking about elected officials now, not registered voters, elected officials. Bel Edwards couldn't pass a tax if he wanted to with all the Democrat voters. Republicans own the House and the Senate. Okay? They can shut down all these massive taxes and these tax lies through tax reform that are coming. The tax lies through tax reform are increased taxes on you. Okay? Republicans hold the key in this state. Republicans. Now, I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Republican because of what I'm getting ready to explain to you, that these Republicans, these rhinos, these leftist liberals who ought to be Democrats are only Republicans because that's how they get elected. Every one of them needs to be pointed out, and every one of them needs to be lifted back and put back on the Democrat side. Now, look, I get mad at the Republicans way more than the Democrats. I do. I've always have. And they get me so upset because they're the hypocrites. They're the ones that are so hypocritical. And so we're going to point out over the next few years, especially this year, the liberal Republicans. And we need to get people involved by telling them, go be a Democrat. Matter of fact, one of the things we may have to do with some of these people, you can go get registration cards. You can go get registration cards from the registrar's office. You can go get as many as you want. You can go pick up 20, 30 cards. Tell them you're having a voter drive. And take those voter cards and fill out Democrat with that name of that person on it and mail it into them. And invite them to switch back. Because the tax reform they're talking about doing is a lie. Let me give you an example of one of the things they're going to do. You remember last year they raised the sales tax. The sales tax is supposed to hurt the poor people more than it hurts the rich people and the middle class people. But it was led by Democrats, Bel Edwards, and they voted for an increased sales tax on their own people, on the people they said they're trying to help. And it's 18 months or 24 months, whatever it is. I think it's 18 months. So they increased the sales tax, the state sales tax 1%. In Monroe, it's almost 11%. Some places it's 11%. What is the sales tax here? It's what? 10.5. It was 9.5, went to 10.5 because of what the state did. That affects everybody. Okay? So here's what they're going to come back and tell you. Oh, we want you to do tax reform, pay more income taxes. You can't deduct anything on your federal income taxes anymore. Okay? They're going to tell you we're going to lower the sales tax for you, the one they just raised. They're going to lower taxes. They're going to tell everybody, we're lowering your sales tax. Whoa, you just raised it. Now, this is what they would. It'd be like me, this drink that Jack brought me with the beautiful tech colors on it. And let's say this was about $1. I don't know what it was. Big as this is, I hope this was $8, so that's a lot of money. But it would be like me having raise it $1 to $2, and then tell you when you come in, I'm giving you $1 break. That's originally $1, but today we raised it $1. But when you come in next week, we're going to lower it $1, and you're supposed to say, "Wow, they're lowering this drink to $1." By the way, I've been paying $1 for 20 years. They upped it for $2 for 18 days, and then when I walk back in, they go, "Hey, we're going to lower you." That's what they're doing with the sales tax. They raised it last year. I'm reading Lanny Keller. He said, "Well, we're going to lower the sales tax. People need to appreciate the lowered sales taxes." You raised them, Jackrabbit. Now you're going to lower it and convince somebody. That'd be like if you went I call it old folks' home, or home with older people. Somebody comes smiling at you and they stole your teeth off the table, smiling at you with your own teeth. I mean, that ain't right. These people ain't right. Get to that in a minute. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Wait till I get to Lanny Keller's article, who is about as left as you're going to get. And this is what you're going to get. Republicans are your problem, folks, in the state legislature. John Alario is a Republican. By the way, he's been there 40-something years. Why ain't this stuff fixed? He's the man in the room. We'll be right back. Anyway, 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline if you'd like to be part of the program. Now, I want to go back. These Republicans that are in the legislature, House and Senate, a couple of quick things. John Kennedy just won the Senate race pretty big. You know why John Kennedy is a sitting senator? This is my opinion. Because he was such a fiscal hawk for the last 10 years. I know we've had him on the program 1,000 times. But he challenged the tax and spend liberal policies of the Republican Party. He challenged them. He challenged Bobby Jindal for 8 years. He challenged Bill Edwards for last year. He is the sitting United States Senator because of his responsibility. And, hey, they were hitting him left and right. Jay Darden knocking the hell out of him. John Alario taking cheap shots. You know, the magician in the room, the adult in the room who can't accomplish anything but for himself and his friends. So this needs to be a warning to the Republicans for going on an agenda of we just going to tax everybody to prosperity. I explained yesterday, we got markets in this state that are hurting financially. People are hurting for their jobs. It's not just the oil and gas industry. There's some other areas that are really struggling. And yet, we're going to tax people to prosperity. We only care about the state government because they're not talking about a spending problem. So here's John Kennedy comes along. He's been a voice out there. They've been beating on Kennedy like a yard dog. These legislators beat on him so bad it's not even funny. I knew, folks. I know what they did with him. And yet he won. Why? Because people said that's what we want. We want somebody like that. So if we don't hold these people responsible, I'm telling you, they're going to get away with, quote, political murder. And there's Kennedy. And then let's take John Alario, who's now a Republican. He makes the Republican Party look stupid. He makes it look bad. I'm not talking about grassroots. I'm talking about elected officials. Here's a guy right here who was a lifetime liberal, losing leftist, and yet now he's a Republican. Everything's cool, you know. And the reason they like it is they're going to pass taxes with these Republicans. And I've been saying John Alario, no, you can't beat him in his district. But if he's so good, why don't we have any problems? If John Alario is the adult in the room, why are we struggling with all this? If John Alario is such a powerful guy, and he is, it may be because he's in charge of all this stuff. Not because he's going to change it. John Alario couldn't change it. John Alario didn't want to change it. Jay Darden does not want to change it. Bill Edwards does not want to change it. Because if they wanted to change it, they would be talking about spending problems, not about revenue problems. Lanny Keller in The Advocate today. Headlines, a battle next time over tax reform. And he goes through the process of the unending financial crisis inspired by the bad judgment of former Governor Bobby Jindal and many members of the legislature who cut taxes, lauded out business tax breaks over 8 years without regard to the bottom line. Folks, there's more money in the coffers. When Jindal came in and when he left, there's more money in the budget. We added $2.4 billion over the last year or so. You got a $27 or $28 billion budget. There's more money in the budget. For Lanny Keller to write such filth, such lies, is ridiculous. There's more money in the budget. There's not less. They act like they have no money. They just voted $2.4 billion, led by Republicans. All right, we got to take another break. 844-766-6607. We'll be right back. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show, Hickson Autoplex. Don't forget to check out HicksonHasIt.com. HicksonHasIt.com. Dallas in the game will get you taken care of. You're looking for a new vehicle to buy, a used vehicle. Why don't you start with HicksonHasIt.com and see if they can get you taken care of. They will. They do such a wonderful job. They really do. I believe in what Dallas and them are trying to do here because I trust them. And I bought enough vehicles from them to trust them. And they're like, well, you advertise. Doesn't matter. I don't use Dallas when I buy one. I just go through the people. And they do such a wonderful job. All righty. I want to back up. John Kennedy is in there because he was tough. He challenged Governor Jindal, who's a Republican. He challenged Bill Edwards, who's a Democrat. He challenged these legislators, and he ended up winning. But these legislators, like in the Senate behind John Alario, are going to do what he said. Well, why hasn't Alario ever fixed the problem? The guy's been there for 45 years, I think. When he's done, he's been there 48 years. He's the magician. He's the Michael Jordan of the basketball of politics. He don't want to fix it. He just wants more tax dollars. Now, according to Lanny Keller, you can check this out in The Advocate. He says, of course, they have to pop Jindal. Second thing they're doing, they're saying the panel of experts. You realize the tax committee, this tax committee that was put together, John Alario and Jay Darden are on the committee. And Jay Darden and John Alario are finding out what they want to pass, and then they're going to say, well, we're going to only pass what these experts told us to do, but they're telling them what they can pass. You know, what is that? What do they call it? The wolf garden, the hen house or whatever? That's what this is. So they're not getting enough money in because they have a spending problem. The road tax committee has not looked at the spending problem, and neither has this committee. How can you be honest with the people in Louisiana without looking at the spending? And you can't. If they came back and can prove to us they're not overspending, that's fine. But they got to be overspending because the money we're getting in is never enough. And when we do tax reform, it's going to be never enough. I want you to think about this. $2.4 billion in new taxes. Jindal's last year and Bill Edwards' first year. And it was not even close to being enough. Why is that? Why? $2.4 billion. What do we need? $4 billion? $5 billion? $7 billion more? It's amazing to watch. They're saying tax reform is complicated. It's really not. You lower the tax rates and you spread them out. But they're lying to you by saying they're lowering tax rates when they say they lowered the sales tax because they just increased it last year. So they increased it 1 cent, so they can come back and say they lowered it 1 cent, but they really didn't. It's a temporary tax, so you and me can fall for higher income taxes, higher corporate taxes, and our businesses are struggling. And if the businesses are struggling hiring people, that means people that have their jobs, they want to hold on to them. And you're going to take more money out of their pocket and call it reform. He says, Lanny Keller once again, each step is a chance to cry for cutting the budget instead of making the system fairer. Because people are likely to notice. Now listen, it is. They'll notice when the income tax goes up, but they might not notice when the sales tax goes down because of the swap. I'm going back to what I just said. Raise it a penny. Next year, take it off and tell people you're paying less. When they really told us this penny is to get us through the tough times. So really, if they want to lower it 2 cents. Go below the 4 cents they had. You want to help the poor? You want to help people that their income can't go as far when you got higher sales tax? Well, lower 2 cents. They're not going to do that, folks. They're going to lower it 1 cent and convince people they're lowering sales taxes when, yeah, you could say you're lowering sales taxes, but tell people you just raised it a year ago. Not even a year ago. It was raised 6 months ago. It was raised July 1st. It was not even raised 6 months ago. And they're already talking about that being the cut. Then he ends the cut the budget crowd has little credibility. Now, I'm going to tell you what Lanny said. The budget cut crowd has little credibility. Is that so? Well, what is the credibility, Lanny, of state government with our road taxes and money never got to the roads? 11 cents on a dollar gets to the roads. And we supposed to believe that us cut the budget crowd has little credibility. What kind of credibility do they have if we give them more money? We gave them $2.4 billion. They can't balance the budget. We gave them money for roads. We ought to have roads of gold. They can't put money on the roads. TOTD bogs down and retirement and all this other stuff they got. The credibility problem should be with the legislature, not with the people. Hell, I paid my taxes. Every time I put gas in the tank, I paid it. You know, I got to pay income taxes. I got to pay sales taxes. I got to pay fees and all this other stuff y'all do. People like Lanny Keller and them, really, they're so disingenuous on what they're doing to the people of Louisiana. And they just soon tell a lie as to tell the truth. He noted, as ever was noted before, cable, the state has to cut and cut again, and the instability of state revenue is causing long-term problems. How about spending, Lanny? When are you going to talk about spending? Lawmakers may say they want cuts, but as a group, they are reluctant to make them as each has priorities that require your tax dollars to fund. Well, I'm not arguing with that. In other words, they don't have any guts. I mean, John Kennedy ran on, we're spending too much money. John Kennedy ran on, our budget's bloated. John Kennedy ran, he gave us the budget and gave us the budget over the last 10 years. It has really shot up. It's shot up a lot, and they sit here saying we don't have enough money. So, folks, which one is it? John Kennedy just won an election with 61% of the votes running on that. And this is where you and me are going to come in. If we don't hold them responsible in this next session, they're going to eat our lunch. Your kids are going to end up in another area. I've always said our problem is that we change the rules in the middle of the game. Look what's happened to Tops. Whether you think Tops is good or not, it's not even the point. They changed the rules on these kids that they were told when they hit the 9th grade, and their families were told, you reach a certain grade point level average, and you reach a certain level on your ACT, we're going to help you with your school to keep you here. We wanted to keep the best and the brightest. And so those kids worked their butts off. You know, the easy A student I can understand, but there are kids that barely made it. They barely got their scholarship. They worked their butts off to get there. And now you tell them, well, you're going to have to pay your money in the spring, because we don't have any money. But that's not what you told me when I was coming through as a 9th grader. That's not what you told me when I was a freshman or sophomore. I'm a junior or senior. Now I got to come up with money to graduate. You see what Louisiana does? We change the rules. We change the rules. We change the rules. The kids don't benefit. Education doesn't benefit. Our businesses don't benefit. The people that work in businesses don't benefit. Our citizens don't benefit. And that's all these people do. And people like Lanny Keller, who has no intellectual capacity for anything, it seems to me, because he's not going to be honest. He would rather tell you a lie. He would rather tell you the lie when the truth would fit. Folks, all I'm doing is telling you the truth. I'm just telling you what to think about. Because in 3 years, we're going to have to, this one-term governor is going to have to go, but we need to get rid of some of these legislators. Now, look, I'm not picking on the Democrats here, because the Democrats that run in certain areas, that's what their constituents want them to do. That's fine. But these fake Republicans keep hurting us. And that's where our concentration needs to go. They need to be enjailed. They need to be enjailed out of office. It's what needs to happen. But, oh, no, go look at the business people and the chamber types that support them. A lot of them sitting there waiting for that money on that road tax. They're waiting for that money on that school tax. They're waiting for that money on all these taxes, because it's going to benefit their companies in the private sector. And I can name them. And hell, I might before it's over. All right, we'll take one more break. Mr. Floyd is joining us again. We'll check in on what's going on with the veterans' homes and things of that nature, see if he's making any progress. And, of course, it'll wrap up, and we'll have, let's say, Brandon, 4 more hours of me the rest of the year. That's it. And the people said, amen. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. believe I wrote that, didn't you? Brandon?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, if you believe I wrote that, you ought to read Lanny Keller's article on tax reform. You can learn something. My God, what these people write and get paid for. Anyway, welcome back, Griffon Show. I want to thank Dallas Hickson, Hickson Autoplex, HicksonHasIt.com, HicksonHasIt.com, Leesville, Monroe, and of course, right here in beautiful Alexandria and Central Broadcasting. So we're supposed to, and I got to get in touch with my friends in Leesville, and I'm going to do it after the first of the year. We're going to go do a remote there. So Rhonda and Kathy, if y'all listening, make sure you get back in touch with me. We're going to come spend a day in Leesville and enjoy ourselves. I don't know if they're going to let me bring my boat and go to Toledo Bend after that, but we can talk to them. They may let me know. Mr. Floyd, join me. Floyd, how you doing, brother?
Doing good, Mary. Merry Christmas to you, Mo.
Merry Christmas. Sorry, Floyd. I always like to get an update. I know you're still fighting a good fight and trying to get people to listen to you about what's happened here. It's not just happened here. Veterans in general and how they've been treated at these VA places. Now, I will tell you this, and you can vouch for this first before we get into it. I've had a lot of people call me and tell me the VA for them has been awesome.
Well,
they've had great things. And by the way, kudos to them. I know what you're going to say, but
yes, indeed. I mean, when you got nobody's fighting, nobody ever fights about good doctors.
No,
but you got to fight about a bad doctor.
Sure,
okay.
And that's your fight.
That's my
fight. Because you lost your dad.
Right, and I'm fighting for the truth, and everybody knows the truth.
You know, we saw. You've been on here a long time with me.
Yeah.
I've been coming by. I've been coming here probably 8 or 10 years, and you've probably been by just about that long.
Yeah.
And you talked about this before. You know, a couple of years ago, we had the big national deal where it broke all over the nation about what was happening at VAs. And I said, man, Mr. Floyd come on here and told us about this right here in Ellick for a long time. And my question to you is, we had all that break. Was it about 2 years ago?
About 2 years ago over in Phoenix.
What's happened?
Well,
what's happened since? Because I don't see anybody talking about this. I thought this is a gigantic issue. Now, I did see Mr. Trump talk about the VAs and all that stuff and about the veterans and things. I don't, what he's doing, I don't know yet because he's not the president. But my question to you is, anything's been really done?
No. The same guy, Drew Griffon, lead investigator for CNN, that exposed the list over in Phoenix, was here for 14 days with a crew. Interviewed all the families.
They came in 14 days.
2 different times, total 14 days.
Did they ever do CNN with this story?
Never did.
Why?
About 2 years ago.
Why can't waste 14 days if you're not going to do something with it?
That's what I was concerned. I've called him quite often.
What does he tell you? They won't
put
it on
no
yet?
response. No response.
But why would you? Okay, this is my question. Why would you break the story nationally like that? Come here, spend 14 days, and not take it a step further.
I think the powers to be to know that we're not talking about a list here. We're actually talking about premeditated of getting rid of veterans.
Wow.
Okay.
Nobody
and
wants
can't
to
nobody
talk
tell
about
me
this.
that. Can't nobody say, well, and I tell them that openly. I mean, medical records that they say didn't exist, they do exist. You're either telling the truth or you're telling a lie. And I heard the government say they make the lie be the truth.
You personally been working on this for many, many years.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm gonna ask you a question, but don't slap at me because I'm asking an honest question.
Go ahead.
When does it end for you? And what I mean by that is because I know you went to court and you had some cases, the Supreme Court, all that stuff.
Supreme Court, yes.
My question is, when does that end for you? And then what I mean by that is not what you
when
think.
You get people.
It doesn't mean I want you to quit. That's not what I said. When you look up and say, nobody's going to do something about this, or do you do what we hear about somebody, the persistency of the heart, because you're right, and you're just not going to quit until you find the right person.
Well, let me just take you back just a little bit.
No, that's fine.
You had then Senator Landrieu, then Congressman McAllister. I finally got a chance to sit with them personally for an hour to show them how the Office of Inspector General covered up what exactly happened to my dad. They both saw that. And the truth is what it is. They both signed the same letter asking for the Attorney General to step in. And you know how long they've been out of office?
Yeah.
That has never happened.
Nothing.
Because nobody wants to see the truth. I mean,
I wonder what's stifling him on that. I mean, the truth is
because it goes and involves a lot of people. A lot of people at the top, who knows what's going on since all this happened. Only one person still left at this VA in Pineville concerning this whole ordeal. Everybody else early on was being shipped out, forced to retire, just
so
disappear.
that's hard to have help when nobody's in there helping you.
Well, you can't go to even the people that work there. You can't go to
All
your.
right. What's your next move? What are you trying to do now? If you can tell me.
Well, if those that have the power, that are elected, will sit down and see the truth, see the truth for yourself. Everybody feel because the federal government put it on paper first, it must be the truth.
No, I don't even look at it. But here's my big question. Mm-hmm. It seems to me, and I'm just throwing this at you, I don't know this, but you're going to answer it. It seems to me, when I think of VA, I think of feds, I think of the nation. It seems to me it's going to have to be somebody in the federal government, which has not been your friend, that's going to have to step up and help you.
Well,
am I wrong by making that assessment?
No, it has. I think it has come from the state congressional delegate to see it for themselves.
But it's still a federal
It's still federal, but they're representing Louisiana veterans who are dead.
Your representatives and your state senate, United States senators.
Yes, they have to see it to fight for it.
Okay, Abraham's in your area. Have you had any help there?
No, I've given it to him. It's been,
but he's a veteran. Ain't he a veteran? He's not a veteran.
But they have to see it and read it for themselves. I think he is. Yes, he is.
Well, if he's a veteran, that's what bothers me about this. If he's a veteran, why wouldn't a veteran congressman be, okay, let me go another fellow. How come somebody like John McCain, who was in a prison camp, who suffered a lot, how come somebody like that, I'm just saying like that, can't run with this?
I've been all the way to Jeff Miller's office. He was the chairman of the congressional side, House side, for over 4 years. You know what the guys tell me, Mr. Hodnett, the investigators for the federal government? We're still waiting on the VA to answer us. Why do they have to answer you on the truth when you know what the truth is? I
wouldn't leave this with the VA. I think there ought to be, they had hearings and stuff like that.
Well, I think it's not a civil thing. I think it's criminal now. I
agree.
You don't look at the evidence and don't think that this is not a criminal action. And I can't file criminal charges, but those that have the power to do it need to see it for what it is. That's all I'm asking them to see.
I guess what breaks my heart for the whole thing, besides you and your family, your dad, y'all, everybody else that's going through this, because you're not the only one.
There's now, since I've been on the highway exposing what's happening at this VA, I've had at least now 18 people to say that the same physician caused the death of their loved ones. And I'm asking the people that have the authority, come look at it. Come see the evidence and see it for yourself.
It seems like to me, somebody that's in Congress that had any kind of military background would want to fight this, to expose this, so it doesn't happen anymore. You know what you're fighting for? You're not only fighting because it was your dad and other people. You're fighting so this don't happen to the next group of service people.
Well, look at the waiting list. They say they didn't have a waiting list. Right there in Shreveport, 37 people died on a waiting list, and they went after the whistleblower. So
see, that's why they do that. They go after the whistleblower for one reason. You're going after the whistleblower so nobody else will come forward.
And intimidation.
It's a big-time intimidation. Could you imagine saying, so-and-so went after him, and he's in jail. We can't find him anymore or whatever. Lost his job. Just losing your job's tough.
But these are federal documents that tell the truth. Come see it. That's all I'm asking people to see it.
Well, so I wouldn't even know what kind of advice to give you. I think you're going through all
fight for the truth. I mean, how many wars we've had because something was wrong and not fighting for the truth. For people.
It just seems like, though, there's got to be the people on there's veteran committees. There's VA committees in Washington, D.C. You would think one of them would say, look, we're going to get to the bottom of this.
Well, it's like when they forced Shisheki out. This thing is bigger than Shisheki. It's bigger than a secretary of Veterans Affairs. I mean, they don't run the hospitals down deep.
Be interesting to see if Trump puts somebody in there and it really works to help veterans. I'm saying it'd be interesting. I don't know yet.
Well, look at my case. You and I are talking about it. Who picks up the phone and asks you, I want to set up something so that I can see what this guy's talking about? Those that have the power can do that.
It's blowing my mind. It's just very frustrating. I can't imagine your frustration.
Yeah.
I'm frustrated just listening to you.
Well,
By the way, people get frustrated when they listen to me sometimes, too. God bless, Floyd.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it,
God
brother.
bless
All
you.
right, quick break. Friday Eve tomorrow, folks. 22 hours is all you have to wait, and I'll be back. God bless. See you tomorrow.